We cannot defy gravity. We can only make history. Millions crumble paper on the shore. Every passing day we dream of one day more. Time is running out as one day more. Time is running out. Our hearts are tied up in frivolity, fighting endless wars for trivialities. We must have lost our way many centuries before. No more big misconceptions of what's in store. We cannot define destiny. We're still lost in mystery. Millions crumble paper on the shore. Every passing day we dream of one day more. Time is running out. Time is running out.
Welcome guys to the Meet Damien live stream here. Today's price action is not looking so good for Bitcoin, not looking so good for cryptocurrency here. We see Bitcoin is currently trying to climb up to $107,225. Let me just zoom in here real quick into the chart as I show you what we've done today already. We saw Bitcoin drop down to $103,516 in the early morning hours of Friday, October 17th. It seems as though like they keep attacking Bitcoin while everybody is sleeping here in America, because they probably know that there's no one left to buy Bitcoin around that time, because all Asia does is sell, and I think Europe is having a hard time buying Bitcoin as well during the European session. And that leaves us with only the American session where we can actually pump money into Bitcoin here. And it looks like we're kind of getting a slight pump right now at $107,100 Bitcoin. But let me just show you here on the charts what we have to look forward to here and why we are a little bit concerned about Bitcoin. Actually, we're a lot concerned. Okay, Bitcoin is holding on to dear life on this 200-day moving average. This 200-day moving average, this red line, okay, is currently sitting at 107,530. We're barely just below it here. Okay, and we're kind of getting a hammer candle, which is a little bit deceiving because, you know, we had a lot of sell pressure earlier this morning, but the buyers are stepping in because they recognize that if Bitcoin's going to still be in a bull run, this might be the best opportunity to buy relatively cheap Bitcoin. Okay, because if we lose this 200-day moving average, then it's pretty much game over, in my opinion, on this rally here. You cannot lose the 200-day moving average and still say you're in a bull market. Okay, the 200-day moving average is kind of like your last line of defense here. If you're in any bull market for any asset, whether it's Bitcoin, gold, the stock market, whatever asset you're looking at, you do not want to lose that red line. And we're threatening to lose that red line. And we lost that red line before, back here in like February and March earlier this year. And we all know how March and April felt. It felt really bad when Bitcoin was below $74,000. I'm not sure if Bitcoin is going to be able to come back above this red line again anytime soon if we lose it, because I think a lot of people are tired and exhausted from Bitcoin playing around with us and going up to like new all-time highs, only for us to then a few days later drop down to you know, basically where we started from. Okay, Bitcoin has been range bound for the most part all throughout the summer, where we've seen Bitcoin get as high as like, you know, 123,000, then like a month later 124,000, and then, you know, nothing really going on in September, but then October we got a little, you know, hoorah at $126,000, and now here we are dropping down to $107,000, $103,000. It's starting to look you know, a little bit exhausting for the bulls here. The bulls are showing exhaustion on the charts, and you can even see that on the RSI. If I quickly pull up the RSI, you can see that the enthusiasm on the RSI is really not there, you know, like it was back here in July and then even in August. Okay, we kind of had a little bit of a higher RSI than we did here in August, but then look, we're also creating lower lows here on the RSI, so it's a little bit confusing for a lot of people whether they should be bullish or bearish on Bitcoin. What I think most people need to start to ask themselves here is, can you stomach Bitcoin dropping any further down than where it is right now? Because if the answer is no, then maybe you need to take some money off the table here. Okay, you don't have to sell everything, and this is not financial advice, but you don't have to sell everything. Maybe sell half of whatever you have in crypto, and then maybe you can buy back in later at lower prices. You know, if Bitcoin does go to $90,000 or $80,000, you know, you're gonna feel better having a little bit of cash, and you might even be inclined to buy the dip if we do go down that low here on Bitcoin. But for the altcoins are pretty much on their deathbed right now. And if Bitcoin does break through this $107,000 level, which it did this morning, okay, but if it continues to break below the 200-day moving average and we go to lower prices here, the altcoins are gonna take it the worst. You know, Bitcoin catches a cold, and the altcoins end up getting AIDS. You know, like they end up getting a life-threatening disease. Okay, or worse. Okay, that's just the way it goes here in cryptocurrency. So if you're heavy in altcoins, maybe you could take this opportunity of Bitcoin going up to $107,000 again. Maybe you could take this as an opportunity to actually sell some of your crypto, some of your Bitcoin, and just sell, knowing that this might be the highest price you can get, because we might end up going lower. And if we do go lower, I do have a Fibonacci that I drew going the other way now. Okay, where now I got Fibonacci extensions going to the downside, and we already hit the 1272 at $104,800 Bitcoin. We could see that all over again. I have mentioned in previous live streams that we could see Bitcoin go to $105,000 sooner rather than later. only because we had like a head and shoulder pattern on the 1 hour time frame. If I just zoom in a little bit here, we had a left shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder. We kind of dragged out the right shoulder a little bit yesterday, and then we got the break out of that head and shoulder pattern. And the target on the head and shoulder pattern was 105K. If I just measure that out real quick here, you know, we saw, you know, you just measure from the head to the neckline here, and we just take that to where we were expecting the breakout out of the neckline, and it was showing that, you know, $105,000 Bitcoin was a possibility here, that blue number right there. And we actually came down to that level and then some. Okay, another level that we could see Bitcoin go below, if we start losing like 104, 103K, then there is you know, there is a possibility that we could come down to 98K here, and that's the 1618 Fibonacci extension using Fibonacci analysis here. And then some other levels to look for, just using the VRVP. If I zoom out to the daily chart here, and I just show you what we've done over the summer here, I'll get rid of the moving averages for now. If I turn on the VRVP, VRVP is showing that there is a high volume node here at 105, 104K. But if I zoom out a little bit more and gather some data from like that all the way down to March, you're going to see there's another high volume node at like 96K, 96K and 94K. So, you know, if we lose 103K, right? If we lose $103,000, there's not really much gonna give us support here until we get down to like 96, 97K. That's the next level to look for Bitcoin, in my opinion. Okay, and with these altcoins, you know, if the Bitcoin drops down from 107 to 97, we'll quickly measure that out, right? From where we are right now down to like 96, 97K, it's about a 10% drop. But you can expect your altcoins to double that, maybe even triple that amount of decline in price. Okay, if Bitcoin drops 10%, I'm expecting these altcoins to drop 20 or 30%. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so that's what I have for Bitcoin. It's looking like a bear market, or possibly a bear market here. Let me draw on I'll put the moving averages back on again for you guys. If we lose that 200-day moving average, and I'm going to get rid of this too, okay? If we lose this 200-day moving average, this red line here, okay, I'm going to say that we're in a bear market, and anytime we bounce up to higher prices, I'm going to look at that as an opportunity to sell before the thing drops down further to lower prices, okay? This is the way we have to play a bear market. It kind of started off here in the beginning of October, you know, especially last Friday. That was your big drop. Your opportunity to sell was Monday and Sunday this week. And then look at this. Tuesday was a red day. Wednesday was a red day. Thursday was a red day. Friday, another red day. Although we could be getting a price reversal candle here with a hammer candle, which could send the price up. So maybe this weekend, after the Bitcoin ETFs are done selling their Bitcoin, we might get a little bit of a relief rally this weekend. And this weekend could be an opportunity to just sell. I mean, some people are going to get drawn in. They're going to be like, oh my God, we're recovering. We bought the dip. We bought the dip. But with the way things are going in the macro market out there, with the government shut down, with the Federal Reserve not giving us assurance about whether they're going to cut interest rates further to support the economy, with Donald Trump's tariffs, you know, being a threat every single week, I think the market's starting to give up on hopes of going to higher prices here. Okay, so if we do go up to higher prices, it might be temporary. Okay, just keep that in mind. And if we do go up to higher prices, I would expect a rejection of the 100-day moving average at 112,500. That might be an area where, yeah, Bitcoin is going to look like it's trying to get back up to higher prices again. But that might be your opportunity to just sell, you know, whatever it is to help you, you know, be able to go to sleep at night. Okay. And that might mean having to sell some of your altcoins. Now, once again, not financial advice. You guys have to start thinking about, you know, the tax implications of selling your cryptocurrency here, okay? But it's something to think about, you know. Is it really worth trying to save money on your tax bracket for short-term, long-term gains here if Bitcoin's going to drop another 10%, okay? You're going to have to make that calculation in your head Do you really want to stomach, another 10% drop in Bitcoin or another 20% drop in your altcoins here? Okay, if you get a rise up here in price, it might be time to take a little bit off the table. Okay, you can always get back in if Bitcoin goes from here to like 126k and the altcoins start ripping and we start seeing Bitcoin at 130k. You can always get back in. You have cash to get back in again. Okay, but let Bitcoin prove itself. Okay. If Bitcoin can get back up to 126k, the all-time highs again, then maybe we can start adding a little bit back into it. You can just dollar cost average into your altcoins again, dollar cost average into your Bitcoin again. But like, why take the risk that, hey, this thing could drop another 10%, maybe even more, if we're really in a bear market here, okay? It's just something that we have to start asking ourselves here. How much do we need to be in the market? Can we take a little bit off so we can go to sleep better at night? Do we have money to pay our bills? Okay, were you planning on doing a renovation for your house? You want to make sure you have a little bit of money to do that, and then maybe you don't have all the money for the renovation on your house, but you have some money, and then you can use a little bit to pay, put on a credit card to do whatever it is you were planning on doing with your profits here with crypto. Something that you have to take into account here. Let me look in the chat here to see what you guys are saying in the TikTok live stream. I see we got a good amount of people here. Thank you, Princess Olivia, for following me here on TikTok. Ray says, stop butting, bro. Buy the dip and send it. Okay, yeah, this could be the best buy the dip opportunity if we actually get a bounce off this 200-day moving average. But I have to let people know, like, this could be the beginning of something worse here if we actually lose this 200-day moving average. So I'm open to both possibilities here, where this could be a buy the dip opportunity, but it could also be the beginning of a bear market. Okay, the beginning of a bear market. Yeah. And Ray, everybody always says it's not a bear market at the beginning of a bear market. All right, no one actually tells you when to sell the highs here. I actually did say, don't buy Bitcoin. I didn't say sell Bitcoin. Okay, but I said don't buy Bitcoin at 126k, 124k. I put out a TikTok video a week ago warning people about buying Bitcoin at 124k, because now would actually be a better time to be buying Bitcoin at 107k. Okay, but I would be putting the stop loss, tight, maybe below the candle wick here at $103,000 Bitcoin. You could buy Bitcoin at 107k right now and put your stop loss at 103, and you're not really risking that much to try to buy the dip here, right? If you're buying at 107k and we actually go down and you get stopped out at 103k here, you're only going to lose 3% of your money. Okay, all right. But if you're buying here and we actually go back up to all-time highs again, you're risking 3% to try and get 18%. This is a better opportunity to be buying Bitcoin right now than buying, a week ago or 2 weeks ago when we were at like $120,000, $125,000 Bitcoin. That's when I was trying to tell people, hey, you know what? Maybe you might not want to buy Bitcoin over here. And I put that video out, and I think I might have helped some people out. But right now, I'm trying to help people out if you're still bullish, yeah, sure. Go ahead and buy Bitcoin at 107k, okay? And just put your stop loss at 103k. And if we go to 103k, then like the downtrend is still intact here, okay? And Bitcoin might be going to lower prices here, okay? And you're not going to lose that much if we do go to lower prices here. If you put your stop loss at 103k, okay? But I just want to make this known to people here that now is a better opportunity to buy than it was 2 weeks ago, okay? And if you're still bullish, but if you're already in profit, like I bought Solana at $13-16 a coin in 2022 after the FTX bankruptcy, okay? After FTX went bankrupt, I was buying Solana, I was buying Bitcoin at $17,000, I was buying Ethereum at $1,000, okay? And that was the time to buy when people are in fear, when there's a big market-driven event. We don't know what could happen next here with some of these exchanges, okay? An exchange could go down and actually go bankrupt, just like FTX did, And then that could just cause more fear in the market, and then we could see Bitcoin go down to like $96,000 or $80,000. And if it does that, wouldn't you feel better selling some of your Bitcoin at $107,000? If you're already on the fence about selling, doesn't it sound better to sell it at 107 than wait for it to go to 90 or 80? Just something to think about. I'm not telling you what to do, guys, here, but it's just something to think about here. I see John316's in the chat. Good to see you. And I also I said hello to Jake, but thank you, Jake, for coming into the live stream. I see you as well. It seems as though we got a lot more busy chat today than we did yesterday. John's asking, are we in trouble? I don't. You know, we could be in trouble. Like I said, if we lose that 200-day moving average, which we're on the cusp of doing it. Jake says, didn't go as low as I thought it would, but the day isn't over yet. John316 says, just buy and stop the crying. Smash the like button, is what John's saying. Guys, don't forget to hit that like button, especially if I'm going over these assets here. I do want to take a look at Bitcoin dominance, and I want to take a look at USDT dominance for you guys here. And thank you, dude, for following me here on TikTok. Bray says sell high, buy low. Yeah, we might have to. If this ends up being a bear market, I think you could say it's a bear market once we lose the 200-day moving average. If we continue going down below that red line, then what's going to happen for you guys to play the bear market is when we actually bounce up, when we rip up to higher prices, that's going to be your opportunity to sell high and then, you know, get ready for the dip. And then when you actually dip down and actually go to like 90,000 or 80,000, that's when you're going to try to buy. If you're dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin and crypto, that's going to be the time to buy. But then when you see the thing jump up, like, you know, maybe $5,000 or $10,000, you know, 5 or 10%, you're going to have to sell that during a bear market. I'm getting you guys ready in case we do get into a bear market. Don't try to kill me. Don't try to kill the messenger. I'm just here to let you guys know, like, if this is the beginning of a bear market, this is how we have to start playing things here. Jaden says, wait through November before you make any decisions. Jaden, some people can't wait. Some people are sitting on profits and they're wondering, you know, they're watching their profits dwindling. Such as myself, you know, compared to what it was, you know, a week ago, 2 weeks ago. And some people probably don't want to wait, but there is reasons to be to still be positive here. Okay, this could be the ultimate buying opportunity for Bitcoin. We still have possible crypto ETFs. We have altcoin ETFs that are delayed right now because of the government shutdown. Those could, if the government actually opens up again, we could get those altcoin ETFs in November or December, and then that could be the next bull run for altcoins and cryptocurrencies here. Okay. Also, the Federal Reserve is most likely going to cut interest rates on October 29th, which is going to provide more liquidity and more money into the markets. That should cause prices to stabilize and probably rise up again on Bitcoin and crypto, and also the stock market. It's going to be good for people with real estate to refinance their mortgages and stuff like that. And they might even take some of that refinance money and put it into a crypto, especially if crypto is dipping down to like below 100K. We might get a little bit of a bounce off of that refinance money if they lower interest rates. So there are some positive catalysts to look forward to here. It's not all doom and gloom, but I'm just saying, you know, 200-day moving average, we really need to hold this, guys. We really need to hold this level, and that's why I titled my YouTube video, I titled it Bitcoin on light support. If we lose this level, it's game over for the bull run. We're at that level right now. We're literally at that level. We were talking about it yesterday and earlier this week, but we're at that level where it could be game over for the bull run. You know, you lose $103,000, $105,000 in a convincing fashion, then it's going to be pretty much game. You can't call it a bull run anymore. How could you call it a bull run if you're now making, you know, possible lower high here and then lower lows? Okay, it would be just continuing lower highs and lower lows, and you can't really call it a bull run if you're in a downtrend. Okay, So that's why I say, you know, this is it. Like we gotta punch through this, okay? We have a possibility of a hammer candle that could be a price reversal candle. This is a daily candle. It looks like a hammer, right? You got the handle and you got the hammer. The body of the candle is the hammer that hits the nail, okay? And this could be a price reversal candle. And what you want to see is like tomorrow and throughout the weekend, you want to see a couple of green candles show up on the daily chart, which would invalidate us going to the downside here, okay? And it would show that we're actually getting a bounce off the 2-day moving average, okay? But, you know, if we continue to the downside here and get some red candles, then yeah, you know, this weekend, very important to see that we actually go up, not down, okay? We could even be lame and just go sideways, okay? And just hug the 200-day moving average, but that kind of gives the bears more opportunity to put some shorts on, and then we could be loading up to go to the downside. So I actually want to see us do a V-shaped recovery. If you do a V-shaped recovery, get some green candles, get rid of these shorts that are trying to short the market right now, then, you know, we could get a nice V-shaped recovery at least up to that 100-day moving average, that blue line at 112,500. If we get up to that blue line, 112,500, I'll feel better about Bitcoin. But also, you know, for those who need to take profits, it might be time to take profit if you see Bitcoin at 112K. Okay, and you can see that I drew this out. This is kind of like a falling wedge. A falling wedge is considered bullish, so you know it's still not game over for Bitcoin. But the falling wedge, right? It does break out to the upside, and it is good to see. If you're coming out of a bull run to see a falling wedge, this could be a buying opportunity. Okay, this could be a buying opportunity, and we could be coming back up to, you know, the moving averages above us. You know, that 50-day moving average sitting at 115,452. So we could see that. It could happen this weekend. We could see $115,000 Bitcoin later on this weekend going into Monday. Especially if we get good news about, you know, maybe United States working out a deal with China and they're not going to do tariffs. That could help. Another thing that could help is if the Federal Reserve says we're actually going to cut interest rates now and not just wait until October 29th. That could send us up to higher prices for sure. For sure. Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Miru, for following me here on TikTok. Let me try to catch up on the messages here. Matteo, you think that's funny? Bitcoin on life support. Yeah, it feels like that way. Guys, if you could double click the, double tap your screen. Let's try to get the likes up. We're at 2,900 likes here on TikTok. Let's see if we can get to 4,000. I think we got enough people here. If you guys double tap your screen, we can get up to like 4,000 likes here. Binary Beast says hello. Hello to you, Binary Beast. I see you. Binary Beast wants to take a look at Dogecoin and Solana. And then, let's see. Let's see if I can catch up on any other chats here. Alex, I'm sorry, Alex, you feel that way. You can leave right now if you feel like things aren't up to par for you. Flight Clips HQ says, I told you it would come down and I shorted at 123K. You said it didn't think so. No, I think taking a short at $123,000 was a good short to take. I was actually trying to short Bitcoin myself at 124,000, 125,000, and I got stopped out because I kept my stop loss tight. I got stopped out at like, when Bitcoin jumped up to 126K, I got stopped out of my short. But then I got into other shorts, on the way down. I shorted at 119, 120K, so I was right there with you, bro. I was right there with you. And I even put a video that said, don't buy Bitcoin. I didn't say sell Bitcoin or short sell Bitcoin. But I said, don't buy Bitcoin at $124,000. And this is the result. This is why you don't buy Bitcoin at $124,000. Okay? Because you could get something like this happening to you. All right? But now I think you could buy Bitcoin here right now and just put your stop loss at 103K. And you're not risking more than like 3 or 4%. Okay, and you slap on some 10x leverage, you're only risking like 30%. But if Bitcoin, right, if Bitcoin can jump from where it is right now to 115K here, that's an 8% move. With 10x leverage, that's 80%. That's almost doubling your money. And if Bitcoin can get up to back into like 124K area, that's a 16% move up in price. Put a 10x leverage on that, that's 160% gain. You're gonna double whatever money you put into that leverage trade there. Okay, And like I said, if you're risking your stop loss below today's low at like 103K, you're only risking 3%. So now's a good time to buy, to be honest. Worth taking a shot. Okay, and putting your stop loss really tight here. Thank you guys for getting the likes up. Looks like we're at 4,300 likes. Appreciate that, guys. Let's get into some of the requests here. We had a request for Solana. Let's look at Solana, and then we also had a request for Dogecoin. We'll take a look at Dogecoin as well. Thank you guys for coming on to live stream and putting in the requests here. Guys, if you have any requests for my YouTube guys, put in your requests right now, because this is going to be a short live stream. I do have things I need to do with my rental car business. And I need to get a haircut, go to the gym, and then I got a football game to go to. I have a cousin of mine. My cousin's gonna. He already got a letter of acceptance to be playing defensive lineman for UCLA. So I have to go watch his game. He's a senior now in high school, and he's playing later on tonight. So I got to get ready for that as well. Okay, but yeah, I'm gonna watch my cousin, tear it up on the football field later on tonight. And getting ready to play for UCLA next year. All right, Solana currently trading at $182.90, down 1% today. And let's see. Solana actually did come down to my Fibonacci target here at 0.382. We had a Solana target of $175 at that 0.382 level. $174, $175 is also where that 200-day moving average is sitting at. So Solana is getting support off the 200-day moving average. Solana is also holding on to dear life here at that 200-day moving average. If we lose that 200-day moving average, I would be very worried for Solana. Okay, I would have to redo the fibs here probably, but if Solana does come down to lower prices here, we do have a 0.236 at $156. Could provide support here. And let me just throw in the VRVP, see what the VRVP has to say. There is a point of control at $144. $144 is where a good majority of people bought Solana back in July and June. They also bought it here in April at $144 and also here in March. So you would expect $144 to be a good support zone for Solana. If it does go down to that zone, I'd be looking to buy some cheaper Solana at that price level. Okay. But yeah, getting out of trying to create a bull case here for Solana. If Solana is able to go up to higher prices, we have a high volume node here at $200. Basically $200 is a psychological level. I think most people would either sell their Solana, okay, at that level there. So that could be resistance going forward. If we actually get back up to $200, I'd expect people to start clicking the sell button. That also happens to be with that 0.618 and the 0.65 retracements at $205, $209. That's an area to be looking out for Solana. Also, if we do get back up to $205, $209, it's actually going to, let me just get rid of this. It's going to be kind of, we had a rising channel here on Solana, but we could get rejected off of the bottom of that channel here at $205, $209. And then come back down, revisit the 200-day moving average all over again before we try to figure out where we're going to go next after that. But I'm expecting on the upside, $205, $209, a tough area for Solana to crack through. But if we get past that, then we got the 786 retracement at 226. 226 is an area that we kind of hung out here in October, the beginning of October. 226 is an area where if people who bought here can't stomach the losses and they just want to break even, they're going to click the sell button on you when Solana gets back up to 226. So that's another area to look for Solana. But if Solana does actually get to 226, let's just measure that out real quick here. How much of an upside gain is that for you? It's about a 23% gain, okay? And you could try to get that 23% gain on Solana, and you put your stop loss below the lows of today, below like $100, maybe $173, and you're risking 5% to try and get to 23%. It's not a bad trade to take, in my opinion. Hello, Crypto Billy. Good to see you, Crypto Billy. Thank you for stopping in to say hi. Appreciate you hitting the like button. We got a good amount of people here. I'm doing a live stream here on TikTok and YouTube. But I appreciate you coming on here, Crypto Billy. Let me see if I give a shout out to you here on YouTube. do a quick shout out if I can. Guys, there's another crypto YouTuber who just showed up in the tip chat here, and he's Crypto Billy. And let me see if I can just pull him up here. Crypto Billy 111. And I appreciate you coming into the chat here. I'm gonna try to see if I could. Oh man, no, not Crypto. Hey, come on. I said Crypto Billy. Crypto Billy 1111. Why won't it give me the actual your channel here? Yeah, that's what I was trying to do here. Thank you. There we go. There's Crypto Billy right there. Okay, another crypto YouTuber here. Check out Crypto Billy if you guys get a chance. I believe he you don't go live. Okay. Anyways, I'm just giving out that shout out to Crypto Billy here. Let's go back in the charts here. We gotta take a look at Dogecoin. And then let me see if there's any other requests here. Guys, this is gonna be a short live stream. I do have some things I need to do this afternoon. Tariq is asking me about how do I do all the things that I do. Tariq, if you would like to learn, we could set up a Zoom meeting where we can learn more about how to do the charts here and how to read the indicators here. I charge $60 an hour for my time, so we would do like maybe a 1 hour session, you know, initially, see if you like it, and then we could do another 1 hour session after that. And then you would just, you know, pay me through PayPal or Venmo or Zelle or however you want to pay me. But yeah, we could I could do a little class session for you about how to read the indicators here. All right, looking at Dogecoin, and I do see we have a request for CoAI and Sui, so we'll do that as well. I actually am looking to short CoAI if it gets up to like $20. Letting you know that, Maureen. I am paying attention to see what happens next with CoAI. But yeah, let's finish up the analysis here on Dogecoin first. Dogecoin is trading at 18.5 cents, down 2% today. Let's see, what is Dogecoin doing? So Dogecoin has been making lower highs here since middle September. A lower high here, and of course, getting down to those lower highs, you had to do a lower low. And Dogecoin is in a downtrend here, and Dogecoin has lost its 200-day moving average, this red line here. And you know my opinion about losing the 200-day moving average. You lose that 200-day moving average, you're in a bear market. So Dogecoin in a bear market, Bitcoin about to be in a bear market if it loses its 200-day moving average. Solana about to be in a bear market. Dogecoin already in a bear market because look, Dogecoin has lost the 200-day moving average, and then it came to back test and retest like the 200 and the 100, and it lost it. And this is just confirming to the bears that they are good shorting Dogecoin to lower prices here. And if Dogecoin does go to low prices, now we have to gotta figure out, you know, how much lower could Dogecoin actually go. Just eyeballing previous price action, I would say, you know, Dogecoin could revisit what it did here back in June when it was down as low as like 14 or 15 cents here. Okay, but you got a lot of support here from the people that bought back here in late June. Okay, they're still in profit right now, but if Dogecoin actually comes down to like 14, 15 cents, they're going to be at break even. It's not until you lose 14 or 15 cents would you expect Dogecoin to go to lower prices here. Okay, looks like the lows for the year for Dogecoin is at about 12, almost 13 cents here on April 7th. So that could be the low that we go to for Dogecoin. If you want to load up the shorts here, you could see Dogecoin come down to like probably 14 cents first and then go down to like 12 or 13 cents. Okay. But if you're a bull here on Dogecoin, if I can try to make a bullish case for Dogecoin here, you got to at least get back up to that 200-day moving average. You know, the 20 cents, 20.5 cents is where you need to get back up to on Dogecoin. In my opinion, for you to say you're back in a bull market, and then you got some more work to do, because then you got to get through all these moving averages, which could be acting as resistance at like 21, 23 cents here. And then you got to get above this last lower high here at, 27 cents here on October 6th. So Dogecoin's got a lot of work to do in order for it to be bullish here. And I would be biased towards the bearish side until we get above that 2-day moving average. Get above 20 cents, 20.5 cents, and you can start saying Dogecoin is not on life support, not on its deathbed anymore. Okay. All right. Moving on from Dogecoin, we'll take a look at CoAI. I'm curious to see how CoAI is doing. CoAI is currently trading at $19.19, up 0.9% today. Actually having a pretty good week. CoAI has been like one of the only cryptocurrencies that actually had a good week this week. Okay. We saw CoAI on Tuesday trading as low as like $5.45. This thing has almost like quadrupled in value since then. And it's only been, what, 3 days, right? Wednesday, it went up like 81%. Thursday, another 15%. Here we are on Friday, creating what is, wow, a crazy hammer candle. This could be a hammer candle here for CoAI. And if this is a hammer candle while going into an uptrend, I mean, how much higher could CoAI go? There is a 1272 at $25.50. CoAI could get up to that price level if we're going to continue being bullish here. Then another level to look out for is your 1618 at $32.45. Could CoAI actually get up to that level? And if it does, okay, you're probably going to see a 71% increase in the price from where it is right now. 71% increase if CoAI can get up to that 1618 at $32.45. However, more realistically, if we do have a good weekend here and altcoins are catching the bids, and this is a buying opportunity for a lot of altcoins here, then CoAI being the leader of the pack here could actually get up to $25, and you'll be up about 35% from where you are right now. Okay, now I have to give you the bearish case. If we get rejected, all right, if we are not able to make another all-time high here at $20.04, you know, CoAI could revisit this 786 retracement at $15.83. If you're willing to take a short on CoAI, I'd probably be targeting $15.83. See if you're able to get down to that level. Another level to look for if CoAI breaks through that 786 retracement is the golden pocket level here at like $12.47 and $13 here. We've been looking to see if CoAI was going to actually come and retest this level and make a higher low and go to higher prices, but we actually stayed very bullish here on CoAI. We never actually got down to this golden pocket level. We stayed very bullish, and because we're staying very bullish, I wouldn't be surprised if CoAI actually gets up to $25.50. I would start looking for shorts at this area if I could, but if you want to take a chance, you could put a short in right now and put your stop loss at like 21 bucks here. And if we actually go to $21, then that means CoAI is making new all-time highs, and it probably means that this thing is not done going up yet. Alrighty, moving on from CoAI, we gotta take a look at SUI. And then Lorraine's asking me, how did I do with my silver trade? I made some money on my silver trade. I didn't actually get the highest price last night. But when I started seeing that money flow was going down on the 15-minute time frame, and we were getting almost like like a sell-off all over the place. Like the stock market all around the world was selling off. Asia was selling, Europe was selling, and they were also bringing gold and silver down with it. I was like, all right, time for me to get out. So I actually took profit. I got stopped out in profit on my silver long last night. I think I got out at like $53.50. I have to take a look at it one more time, but yeah, it was a lot better than I think what silver's at $52 or $51 right now. Let's see what silver's doing right now, real quick, before I move on to SUI. Yeah, silver's at $51. So yeah, I sold a couple of dollars higher than that. All right. Yeah, and you kind of have to be on it with these leverage trades. You got to be looking for that money flow if you can. Let's look at SUI, which is actually my second favorite altcoin besides Solana. My second biggest spot bag. And yeah, I'm taking a hit here on Solana right now. Solana is at $2.42, down 3.7% today. Let me just zoom out here. SUI. Did I say Solana? No, SUI. SUI is down 3.8% today. I have done previous analysis here. I think this is no longer a factor anymore. We now have to look at this with a fresh set of eyes here for SUI. SUI was disappointingly in a prolonged bullish, possibly a bull flag here. It was in a descending channel for the most part since the middle of July, making lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, as well as making lower lows on the daily time frame. And then SUI, SUI lost the 200-day moving average. I gotta get rid of this thing. SUI lost the 200-day moving average last Friday. Okay. And hasn't even been able to like bearishly backtest that. We're clearly below the 200-day moving average on SUI. That 200-day moving average is currently sitting at $3.29. We have to get back up to $3.29 in order for us to be bullish here on SUI again. I cannot recommend, you know, or even come up with a bullish bias here until we get above that 200-day moving average. So this is just very sad to see, in my opinion, because I thought SUI had a lot going for it. I'm going to get rid of this as well. We now have to figure out, you know, how far down could SUI go if we're in the bear market here. If this is a bear market for SUI, then, you know, SUI could come down to $2 here, $2.09, like it did here back in April. Let's see, the lows for the year was $1.71. Yikes. Okay. You could see SUI come down to that level there. Let me turn on the VRVP, see if we got any support from the VRVP indicator here. We got right here this blue line, highest volume node is sitting at 226. Let's see, did SUI come down that low? We came down to 228. So yeah, there is support at 226, 228 for SUI. That is where you could get a relatively cheaper SUI and expect there to be some support there. Because basically that's the same level that people were buying back here in March and April, okay? So I would expect 226 to be a support zone for SUI. And then if SUI is able to climb up to higher prices, you have a high volume node here at 279. 279 was an area that we were trying to hold on to dear life here the last few days here this past week. But also 279 is an area that people were buying relatively cheap SUI back here in June. So that is an area to look out for. Once we get past 279, there's not much resistance until we get up to 325, which is right where that 200-day moving average is. So you got 279, 280, and then 320, 325 as your upside targets for SUI if we're going to continue being bullish here on SUI. But yeah, SUI, look out below, but you know, you could actually be getting cheaper prices at like $2.20 here for SUI. Binary Beast is asking, do I have a Discord? I do have a Discord. If you go on to my TikTok channel, I think I actually have the link there for you to join. You can see my Discord link right there. Okay, and then I also have another link here for the Discord channel. And if you need to, you could just message me here on TikTok, and I'll be able to just send you another Discord link if these don't work for some reason. Okay, but yes, I do have a Discord, and there's my Discord. I posted up. If you guys want to watch the replay of this live stream, you can click on this YouTube link to watch the replay for this live stream that we're talking about right now. But yeah, here's my Discord, Meet Damien Discord. I do have that. Alright, back to the charts here. And Laureen's asking me, am I going to short gold? If it makes sense, you know, I might take a short on gold or silver. The thing is that the market could turn on you anytime, and it could start pumping up again. So I will look for a lower high on like some of the higher time frames, or even the medium term time frames. I'm looking for a lower high on gold before I would, you know, decide to short it. Another thing to take in consideration with the macro picture with gold and silver is that, yeah, gold and silver is pumping up right now. But if the Federal Reserve starts lowering interest rates, and people are no longer scared about, you know, Russia attacking NATO and vice versa, that would take some of the wind out of the sails for the gold trade. And you know, if the Federal Reserve lowers interest rates, then people might start putting their money to work in the stock market again, because gold doesn't really pay you a dividend, but there are some dividend paying stocks out there. And if those dividend paying stocks are paying you dividends and also appreciating in value, then that takes away the shine and sparkle of getting into gold, and that would suck the money out of gold, to be honest. So right now I am looking for gold to possibly do something like this, right? This is where I would short gold, right? If gold comes down, tusses the uptrend here, comes back up, doesn't really go that high, and starts going down from there, that's where I would enter short, looking for that lower high on gold, okay? But we got a few more days to see that play out. Like, if this plays out like I'm showing right now, it might not be until the end of October where we get a lower high on gold, and then I could enter a short and take it down to lower prices here. And if gold does go to lower prices, you know, maybe it comes down to this 50-day moving average sitting at 3,500 bucks. Or maybe it only does a shallow pullback and comes down to this 21 EMA at $3,900. But that's something to be looking out for. I mean, if this is the top for gold, you could be shorting it now, and you can put your stop loss, right? If you're gonna short gold, you know, right here, put your stop loss from the highs from yesterday, and you're only gonna risk about 4% on your short. But if gold actually goes down to that 50-day moving average, you're risking 4% to try and get like 16% on that short. Alright, Jake says he's going to get scared if we break 100K on Bitcoin. And Lorraine thinks the liquidity will rotate into Bitcoin. You know what? We've seen that in past cycles where gold has gone up to higher prices and some of that money has gone into Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin and gold, they're both sound money. They have the same use case. So the gold investors, they might jump ship and go into Bitcoin, especially if Bitcoin goes below 100K. Then you might see some of the gold investors take profit and actually go into Bitcoin. And some of them are almost the same people. Like, some of them are Bitcoin investors and gold investors. They'll just rotate, just like you said there. But guys, I'm gonna leave off here. We're gonna look at Bitcoin one more time here, and then I'm gonna end this live stream. I appreciate you guys. I actually got a lot more people today than I thought I was gonna get, so I appreciate you guys coming to the live stream. And I will plan on going live again Monday around the same time, 12 to 2 p.m. Eastern time. It's just, I got a lot of things to do today. I was going to try to keep it short and sweet, but I appreciate you guys coming on to the live stream and you know, try to figure out where the prices might go next year. But yeah, just a summary on Bitcoin here. I don't see why it would not be bad for you to take a shot on Bitcoin and buy it at 106K and put your stop loss below the low of 103,500. Maybe put your stop loss a little bit below that at 103,000 even. And if this ends up being the lows, if this is the lowest point for Bitcoin, then you're catching a nice juicy dip here. And hopefully you're hoping to see a V-shaped recovery back up to like a 100-day moving average at 112,500, or even the 50-day at 115,500. This is where I would, you know, if I'm doing a short-term trade here, I would buy at 106K and sell it at 112 or 115. And then say that was a good weekend of trading for me, okay? But if you're in it for the long term here, then yeah, buying now at the 200-day moving average has never been a bad idea, except for when you're, you know, going into a bear market. Then, you know, then you might have to wait a little bit longer for you to go to higher prices. But buying now does not seem like a bad idea. And if we do go up to higher prices, there are some other levels to look for that we've been looking at. We got the golden pocket at 119K. That could act as a resistance. And Bitcoin could make a lower high there and then come down and revisit the 200-day all over again. Okay? But if you're buying now, Bitcoin, you put your stop loss, you know, at 103K, you're risking less than 3% here to the downside. Okay? However, if we get up to that 112K level, that's about a 5 or 6% increase. We get up to 115K, that's about an 8% increase. And if we get up to that 119K before we make a lower high, that's about a 12% increase in your whatever money that you put into Bitcoin at this moment right now. Okay. And then for your leverage traders, you know, do whatever leverage you need, but you know, if you slap on 10x leverage, that's 120% gain right there if Bitcoin gets back up to 119K. Okay. But yeah, guys, that's gonna be it for this live stream. Be on the lookout for my next live stream on Monday, and we'll stay in touch in the Discord. Come talk to me on the Discord after the show's over here, and we can stay in touch on the Discord, guys. Okay. Take care and good luck investing in whatever asset you decide to get into here, guys.